We are glad to welcome you to our channel. Kindly subscribe to our channel and share our videos with your friends and relations. And click on the bell icon for instant notification whenever new videos are uploaded on this channel. Rest assured that we are going to have a very exciting and inspiring discussion. Let's dive into the lesson right away. In today's lesson, we are going to look at 25 top literary devices you must know. We want to begin with the lesson objectives. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to do the following. 1. Explain the meaning and purpose of literary devices. 2. Explain various literary devices. 3. Give copious examples of each literary device. What are literary devices? Literary devices are techniques and structures that writers use to express ideas, convey meaning, and add depth and richness to their works. These devices can be used in any type of writing, including speeches, essays, and other forms of communication. In this lesson, we are going to discuss literary devices and how to use them in speech and writing. Number 1, metaphors. Metaphors are used to compare two seemingly unrelated things to illustrate a point. Examples: life is a journey. This is a common metaphor that illustrates how we all go through different stages and experiences in life. Okon is a lion in the boxing ring. Health is wealth. These are various examples of metaphors. In metaphor, you are saying that one thing is another. All right? Health is wealth. Okon is a lion in the boxing ring. Life is a journey. So these are examples of metaphors. 2, similes. Similes are also used to compare two things. However, similes use the words like or as to make the comparison. For example, the world is like a journey. Okon is like a lion in the boxing ring. Health is like wealth. So the difference between metaphor and simile is that in metaphor, you are saying that A is B. In simile, you are saying A is like B. Number 3, hyperbole. Hyperbole is an exaggeration or overstatement used to emphasize a point or to achieve a dramatic effect. For example, I am so hungry I could eat a horse. That is an overstatement. Musa is as big as an elephant. That is an exaggeration. Okay, so those are examples. I have told you a million times not to come late to the office. It's not possible that you have told somebody one particular thing a million times. So these are all examples of hyperbole or overstatement used to emphasize a point. Number 4, personification. Personification is the use of human qualities to describe non-human objects or animals. For example, the wind whispered through the trees. Only human beings whispers, but when you now say that the wind whispers, you are personifying the wind. The sky was smiling. The trees clapped their hands. These are all examples of personification. Number 5, symbolism. Symbolism is the use of objects, images, or actions to communicate an idea. Symbols can be found in literature, art, and everyday life. For example, a red rose is often used to symbolize love or passion. A dove can represent peace, you know. For for example, in the Bible, the Lord told his disciples to be as wise as a serpent, but as harmless as doves. Okay, so dove represents peace. A watch can be used to symbolize time in literature. A key, for example, can be used to signify the unlocking of secrets. So different things are used to symbolize different ideas. Number 6, imagery. Imagery is the use of descriptive language to create a vivid picture in the mind of the reader or listener. It appeals to the senses and helps the reader to visualize the scene or experience. For example, his words were like a burning spear piercing into my heart. The roaring thunder frightened the little boy. When she saw the huge dark figure of a masked man, her heart jumped into her mouth. These are all pieces of descriptive language that create pictures in the mind of the reader or hearer. Number 7, alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of an initial consonant sound in words that are in close proximity to each other. It can be used to create a rhythmic effect or to emphasize a particular idea or feeling. For example, break your barriers and build your dreams. You see, the sound of the consonant B is repeated in break, barriers, and build. And the sound of the letter Y is represented is also repeated in your and your in that sentence. Then the leggy student listened attentively to the lecturer. You see, the leggy student listened attentively to the lecturer. Leggy listened lecturer. She gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. B is repeated in birth, bouncing baby boy. Number 8, onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is the use of words that sound like the object they are describing. You know, it can be used to create a sensory experience for the reader or listener. For example, he jumped into his car and blew up. What blew up describes the sound of the car, moving out. He hit the water with a mighty splash. Splash describes the sound of the water. Boom, boom, so went the gunshot. So these are all examples of onomatopoeia. Number 9, assonance. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds in consecutive words. It can be used to emphasize a particular idea or to create some musical effect. For example, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. He ate 8 plates of steak. The bat is back in the bird basket. That's consonant. Then number 10, consonants. Consonants is the repetition of the consonant sounds in consecutive words. It can be used to emphasize a particular idea or to create a musical effect. For example, he stood on the road and cried. He stood on the road and cried. Zaki nodded as he listened to jazz music. See, Zaki nodded as he listened to jazz music. The sound of Z is repeated in Zaki, listen, jazz, and music. The governor promised to name and shame the culprits. You have M repeated in promised, name, and shame. Number 11, irony. Irony is when the opposite of what is expected happens or is said. It can be used to create humor or to emphasize a particular point. For example, Jack is a very important punctuality prefect and he always comes to school long after the school assembly. The police station, which is meant to protect our community, was raided by armed robbers last night. Debbie is a very careful person, though she has broken all the glasses in my kitchen. So that is irony. Number 12, allusion. An allusion is a reference to a person, place, or event from literature, history, or popular culture. Some allusions make reference to biblical characters and events. For example, red wine is his Achilles heels. The Greek myth about the hero Achilles and how his heel was his one weakness. He is the Solomon when it comes to making decisions. This is an allusion to King Solomon in the Bible. Their house is like a garden of Eden. This is an allusion to the garden of Eden in the book of Genesis. He was a real Romeo with the ladies. This is an allusion to the play Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. Number 13, metonymy. Metonymy is the use of a word or phrase to represent something else that is closely associated with it. It can be used to create a more concise or interesting way of referring to something. For example, the pen is mightier than the sword. Here, the pen refers to writing, while the sword refers to violence or the military, if you like. Hollywood has been churning out blockbusters all year. Hollywood refers to the film industry. The White House is expected to make an announcement around noon. White House refers to the president or members of his staff. Number 14, SYNECDOCHE. SYNECDOCHE is the use of a part to represent the whole of vice versa. It can be used to create a more concise or interesting way of referring to something. For example, all hands must be on deck to ensure that we complete the project. Hands here refer to all persons concerned. All fingers are not equal. Fingers here refer to people. Two heads are better than one. Heads refer to persons. Number 15, hyperbaton. What is hyperbaton? Hyperbaton is the use of an unusual word order to create a particular effect. It can be used to create emphasis or to create a more poetic or interesting sentence structure. For example, nothing false and possible is love. Instead of saying love is nothing false and possible, then you say nothing false. Another example is some rise by sin and some by virtue fall. Or instead of saying that some fall by virtue, you say some by virtue fall. Another example is out of suffering comes success. Instead of saying success comes out of suffering, then we say out of suffering comes success. So in hyperbaton, the word order is reversed. It's an unusual word order. Okay. Number 16, paradox. Paradox is derived from the Greek word paradoxon, which means beyond belief. It is a statement that is seemingly contrary to common sense, yet it is actually true. For example, the more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. Attack is the best form of defense. People who can't trust can't be trusted. These are all examples of paradox. Then the next literary device is LITOTES. That is number 17, LITOTES. LITOTES is a literary device of the double negative. Writers use LITOTES to emphasize the positive form of something through its opposite by saying that opposite is not the case. For example, generating enough electricity for the country is not rocket science. And here, the speaker wants to say that it is achievable, that generating enough electricity for the country is achievable, is something that is achievable, is practicable. But instead of saying that, use the opposite and say it is not rocket science. Another example, we are no fools to have helped you. This is another way of saying we are wise. Okay? I am a citizen of no mean city. Instead of saying I'm a citizen of a great city. Okay? That is how to use litotes. Number 18, sarcasm. Sarcasm is a form of verbal irony in which what seems to be a praise is used to convey a bitter expression of strong personal disapproval. For example, I would agree with you, but then we would both be wrong, you see? Or, yes, you are the voice of the people. When you die, wisdom will die with you. You find this sarcasm in Job chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. Another example, it is better to keep your mouth shut and appear stupid than open it and remove all doubt. Here, you are actually uh, you are trying to express your disapproval of someone, but you want to do it in a way that seems like a praise at first. Okay, so that is sarcasm. Sarcasm is of different types, and in most cases, sarcasm is used as a form of mockery. Okay, euphemism, number 19. Euphemism is an indirect, polite way of describing something that is too inappropriate or awkward to address directly. That is a pleasant way, is the use of some pleasant expressions to describe unpleasant situation. However, most people will still understand the truth about what is happening when you use euphemism. For example, the man passed away early this morning. That is a polite way of saying that the man died. Dan was taken to a correctional facility. That's just a mild or polite way of saying that Dan was sent to prison. Okay? The governor is creative with the truth. In this case, you don't want to say that the governor is a liar or that he's telling lies. So you use some polite way to say the governor is creative with the truth or he is economical with the truth. These are euphemisms. Number 20, chiasmus. Chiasmus is used to achieve a contrast by, by reversing parallel clauses. You know, you you reverse the parallel clauses. We are going to look at examples. What chiasmus does is to portray two contrasting ideas that are intended to emphasize some intended meaning. Okay? For example, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. This statement is credited to John F. Kennedy, an American president. You know, another example, we shape our buildings and afterward our buildings shape us. This statement was made by Winston Churchill. Another example, we were elected to change Washington. but we let Washington change us. This was a statement by John McCain. They are all cases or examples of chiasmus. Then number 21, aphorism. An aphorism is a universally accepted truth stated in a concise, to the point way. Aphorisms are typically witty and memorable, often becoming adages or proverbs as people repeat them over and over. Well, they are wise sayings, okay? For example, to err is human, to forgive divine. This statement was made by Alexander Pope. Actions speak louder than words. You know, when you hear wise sayings like this, they are aphorisms. Or another example, a penny saved is a penny earned, right? Number 22, climax. Climax is the arrangement of ideas in an ascending order as a way of arousing the listener or reader's suspense. For example, Mr. Benson lost his dog, his cat, and his wife. So these words are arranged in order of importance. If a man lost his dog, that is of lesser importance. If he lost his car, that is of more importance than the dog. But if he loses his wife, that is the most important. He came, he saw, and he conquered. That's another example. Then let a man acknowledge his obligations to himself, his family, his country, and his God. You know, this statement was made by George Washington. You know, it's an example of climax. Number 23, anti-climax. Anti-climax. Anti-climax is the opposite of climax. It is the arrangement of ideas in descending order of importance. Climax arranges in an ascending order. This is a type of place. Anti-climax. Okay, so now anti-climax arranges them in a descending order. For example, Mr. Benson lost his wife, his car, and his dog. So beginning with the most important, then the less important, and then the least important. See, so that's the way anticlimax does. Another example, in moments of crisis, I size up the situation in a flash, set my teeth, contract my muscles, take a firm grip on myself, and without a tremor, always do the wrong thing. You see, that is an anticlimax. This statement was made by George Bernard Shaw, a writer. Another example, I thought the chest contained gold chains, trinkets, or jewels, but to our dismay, it was filled with rocks. Number 24, rhetorical question. Rhetorical question is a question used to achieve emphasis or literary effect. It's not a question that requires an answer. For example, if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? This is found in the Bible in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 18. It's a rhetorical question. Who prefers to live in war than to live in peace? Another example, do you want to be a failure for the rest of your life? No, questions like this are not meant for the listener to answer. They are questions that are raised to emphasize a point. Number 25, oxymoron. Oxymoron is a figure of speech in which two opposite ideas are used to emphasize a point. For example, Jack is the wisest fool I have seen. After being beaten by the mob, the suspect became a living dead. The journey was a bittersweet experience. And so this brings us to the end of the lesson. Many thanks for watching today's video. A big thank you to all of you out there for being part of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, kindly subscribe to this channel. Subscribe now as a way of giving us support. For notification about new videos, click on the bell icon. You will find the bell icon. Click on it so that whenever a new video is uploaded, you will be instantly notified. If you have actually enjoyed the video, like and share the video with your friends and relatives. This is very important. If you have any comments, leave your comments below. Any questions, any suggestions, we would gladly receive them and respond promptly and positively to them. See you in the next video. I look forward to always seeing you